The fourth step of the 5S program is called standardizing. It involves the maintenance of a clean working environment free of pollution and completely safe and well organized. Standardizing is the way to maintain the results achieved by constant application of steps 1, 2 and 3. One important part of step 4 is to develop a clear system whereby any machine malfunctions or abnormalities can be recognized at a glance and dealt with even if they only rarely occur. Such a system must be very visible and also easily understood by everyone. The role of step 4 is to ensure the maintenance of the effectiveness of all 5S activities through standardization. Let's look in detail at just how standardization helps to reveal abnormalities and malfunctions. Every workplace is full of machines and pieces of equipment of many different types. But there is a real problem if the operator of each machine is the only person who can spot abnormalities and malfunctions. It is vital that in an emergency, anyone in the section can react to the situation quickly and effectively. The key to this is a clear and complete system of labeling and marking. Every attempt should be made to make malfunctions visible. In other words, to show the situation clearly. Let's look at the main points about visual control. Here are the main points about recognizing malfunctions. 1. What are the most important points to be checked? 2. What counts as a malfunction? There must be a clear standard. 3. Can the malfunction be noticed? What kind of checking equipment is used? Can everything be seen and checked easily? 4. What kind of action is needed? Everyone must know exactly what to do in emergencies and be aware of the importance of constant maintenance and the search for improvements. We can call these points visual control. It's no good if everybody has their own ideas about how to proceed with the 5S program. A manual like this is needed to standardize the whole control system. Labels like this indicate the direction of flow inside pipes. The color, size and meaning of arrows should be clearly indicated. The positioning of labels should also be standardized like this, both in terms of distance from a junction point and to ensure maximum visibility. Such standardization is necessary for reasons of safety and maintenance and will help anyone who has to deal with any problems arising with the system. A standardization manual is of great value in demonstrating visually all aspects of visual control. As we have said, the main role of step 4 is to ensure the maintenance of all 5S activities through standardization. There are many ways of marking equipment, but it must never be done just according to individual preference. Again, the whole observation process demands total standardization as well as the implementation of innovative ideas and devices. We can divide the observation process into 3 main areas. Let's look at some examples of labels which indicate names and condition of equipment. Here is a typical label indicating type of oil and lubrication information. Labels for measuring tools can indicate cycles and accuracy and control levels. Tools need maintenance labels just like automobile inspection labels. Heat-sensitive labels and crayons can change color when the temperature goes beyond certain levels. Labels and tags should clearly show who is responsible for particular machines or pieces of equipment. The second area of observation control is the indication of limits in a way that will immediately strike the eye. Normal use limits and danger zones can be indicated by colours or lines. A very simple but effective idea is to show whether, for example, nuts and bolts are correctly aligned together or not. This idea has many applications in a variety of situations. Position marks clearly indicate where a particular item should be kept. The third area of observation control is improved visibility. One way of improving visibility is to devise ways of doing without a cover, or, as in this case, designing a transparent cover so that the movement of the machine can easily be checked at any time. This device serves a similar purpose, to indicate clearly the working condition of the machine. There is often a need to ensure that certain levels are maintained. Different kinds of scales or limit indicators can be used to reveal abnormalities quickly, such as this float device. Now let's take a look at standardizing in practice. This company produces springs of many types for the automobile industry. The company has to ensure efficiency and quality control while dealing with a great variety of products one after the other in a short space of time. The standardization idea developed was to provide clean and accessible storage for the metal molds used in production. The company calls this its jewelry box storage system.
We decided to devise a completely new storage system because of the number of faulty products we were getting. We realized the problem was that we were using the same molds over and over without cleaning them properly or taking care of storage. Various workers made suggestions, and we gradually came up with our jewelry box system. We established storage rules. For example, the direction the molds were to face, and strict horizontal and vertical shelving. We also developed the idea of using rails and rollers for easy loading and unloading. Now everyone is keen to maintain the system and look after the molds carefully. It's had an enormous effect on productivity.
A maintenance manual was produced to set out all storage and maintenance rules for various categories of mold. This means that any mold can be used efficiently whenever required. The jewelry box storage system developed here is an excellent example of the way in which standardization can facilitate maintenance and control, improve the general working environment, and also reduce waste by ensuring the production of products of a consistently high quality. Now a few checkpoints for your workplace. Check 1. Are you wearing dirty or dangerous clothing? Check 2. Does your workplace have adequate lighting and power supply? Check 3. Do you have problems from noise, vibrations, or heat? Check 4. Does the roof leak? Check 5. Do you have fixed areas for eating and smoking? As we have seen, standardization is the key to maintaining high standards of work efficiency. By ensuring visibility in the workplace, we can guarantee that necessary action is taken quickly. The situation in the factory should be similar to that on the roads. Appropriate and clear signs that anyone can understand, but not so many that the eye gets confused. The main thing is to decide what visual controls are suitable for your working environment and then standardize them. And now we move on to the final step. The final step of the 5S program is training and discipline, with special emphasis on developing habits of efficiency and safety and sticking to them once they have been fixed. The first important point is to think about the best way of transmitting our ideas and thoughts to others. We often give instructions or reports orally, but that is not always the most effective method. Here we have a visual one-point lesson about knife switch operation and how to avoid accidents. Use of pictures like this can make the point clearly and quickly. The first point is to avoid using the left hand because it's near the heart. The second point is that wet hands can create an electric shock. The third point is that hesitant operation can produce sparks, so the movement must be smooth and sure. We made the point before when talking about a 5S manual that illustrations are a very effective way of communicating the message we want to make. When it comes to maintenance and control checking, a check sheet is often used. But there is one problem to be avoided here. The purpose is simply to check, but the process of checking can turn into actual work. Checking has to be made short, sharp, and to the point, as in the example you can see here. This is a way to set out the working rules for 5S operation to facilitate visual control. The system can be divided into 3 distinct time steps: 3-minute 5S, 5-minute 5S, and 10-minute 5S. Production department needs can be divided from those for offices, and the actual duties set out in detail. If the situation is made very clear like this, and everyone follows the rules, check sheets as such may not be needed. To produce this kind of standardized document, it is important that everyone is involved from the beginning in a positive way, so that the need for regular checking and control is fully understood by those involved in actual production. To avoid odd things being forgotten, it may also be useful to set out all regular operations on a 5S calendar like this.
In
my section, we make it a rule to have a major 5S session every Friday afternoon starting at 4:30. Everyone stops work at that time, and any leftover work has to be done after 5 o'clock. On other days, we have a short 5S check as well. The result of this regular checking has been the virtual elimination of sudden breakdowns. We can now find bad points much more quickly. Before, we often had to stop machines in mid-production, wasting 2 or 3 hours checking and repairing. 5S has made a big difference.
Here are 2 important points for step 5. 1. Develop complete visual control so that everyone knows what they're supposed to do. 2. Involve workers in the production of all standard documents and check sheets. In any workplace, there is obviously a big difference in the efficiency and time taken to do a particular piece of work between new employees and veteran workers. New staff may make a lot of mistakes and have to repeat operations and waste time making adjustments. Without proper supervision, this kind of thing can easily increase. Correct training techniques are vital. It is not enough for workers to say, "Yes, I understand." The supervisor must make sure that workers not only understand, but are shown by example what to do, and then allowed to try it themselves. Careful step-by-step training like this, repeated many times, will make the work easy and automatic. At the same time, workers can train themselves in new processes by studying standard documents. These cards, called My Plant Maintenance Responsibilities, are designed to encourage every member of the staff to feel their own responsibilities when they participate actively in 5S activities.
The purpose of these cards is to announce each individual's aims for a 6-month period. For example, this worker's TPM goal is to carry out thorough daily checks and get rid of sudden breakdowns completely. As for C70 activities, he hopes to increase the production target for his 2 machines from 110% to 120%. This kind of thing gives the staff something to really work for, because everyone is fully aware of each other's goals.
In order to develop fixed rules for Step 5, you must set your own targets and do your best to achieve them. Of course, they can be simple targets at first. Then it is important to develop habits that you are sure you will never forget. The STAR system. In this company, the process of declaring aims and responsibilities is well developed. Everyone declares their aims and checking responsibilities in the hope of making their team a star of the department. Let's look at the example of Mitsuko Nakabayashi, who works on the steering column assembly line. On her card, she declared 3 main aims and 5 checking responsibilities.
My aims concerning TPM activities were to produce no bad products, have no accidents and no breakdowns. My other 2 aims were to have 0 defects and 0 machine stoppages.
Of these 3 aims, she regards avoiding machine stoppages as the most important for maintaining productivity. The individual targets combine to become a kind of group challenge, and the teams that succeed are designated as STAR teams. Now let's take a look at Step 5 in action. This company produces and sells automatic transmissions for cars. This traditional sign says Terakoya, an old Japanese word for a private elementary school. This factory features several corners called Terakoya, study areas created to encourage workers to receive training on the actual shop floor. The basic concepts of the Terakoya system are these: to provide education using materials developed in-house, and to keep the system flexible by stressing individualized instruction and staggered lessons. The training scheme is divided into 2 main parts: specialist training and general principles of mechanics and engineering. The general technology course has 4 sections: individual maintenance skills, assembly techniques 3-speed and 4-speed, basic training for new employees, and assembly techniques AW596. The specialist course also has 4 sections: expert maintenance skills, advanced techniques for welding and machine processing, and TFMC transfer machines.
改善技能につきましては、一つには溶接技能からもう一つには機械加工といった2つの
We decided that the best way we could encourage individual improvement through training courses would be to set up special training areas right in the factory itself. We put a lot of thought in as to what to call these areas and eventually came up with the old-fashioned name Terakoya, which we all felt gave an interesting flavor to the training idea, especially as the training itself is very up-to-date. Workers can join these training sessions whenever they have free time, but not, of course, during their actual work schedule. They can go at lunchtime, after work, on holidays, or during overtime. This individual enthusiasm for further training has had a considerable effect on the general efficiency of the factory, and the workers seem to enjoy it.
To emphasize the positive value of the Terakoya system, photos are displayed of all those workers who have attended the courses and qualified in one of the training areas. This underlines everyone's efforts and achievements. The Terakoya system is a good example of a way to encourage everyone to improve efficiency and create their own workplace. It may be interesting to try and create a similar training scheme in your own factory. Now a few checkpoints for your workplace. Check 1. Do you have a daily inspection routine? Check 2. Are work order reports executed properly and at the right time? Check 3. Are you wearing the right protective gear? Check 4. Are you wearing nameplates and headwear correctly? Check 5. Does the group always assemble as scheduled? It is never easy to stick to all the procedures and schedules that are
自分の形を持ってきたかったんだけど、右側をもう刺してしまったんでね、一番になっちゃいけない形になって、攻められっぱなしだった。思い切ってね、残り思い切って相撲を取る、もうそれです。
右を刺してしまった、どういうことですかね。
そうですね、横綱が当然回を十分の左四つにはなりたくないわけですから、はい、横綱は今日突っ張っていくような感じになりましたよね。はいはい、その動きの中で、横綱の方が攻めて先手を取っていましたから、それで右が入るような形になってしまったという、そういうことだと思うんですよね。最後はもう横綱十分の左上手ですからね。
これはしかし、でも、攻め方としてはそんなに悪くなかったんじゃないんですか。
立ち合いからですね、真っ向当たっていったというところがありましたからね。
いいですよね。さあ、この先なんですけど、とりあえず連勝が途絶えたという形。